It's Friday. Let's go live. You know what? I think I kind of like this one better. Hey folks, how you doing? I thought I'd play two intros, right? So the first one is cool, but I kind of like I think the groove of the second one. So I don't know. Maybe you put that in the comments. Tell me which intro you like best. Um, I wanted to come to you guys. Today's Friday. It's 1:00 p.m. my time, California time, and I said I was going to go live every day this month. So here I am making good for you again. And I'm looking forward to people that want to comment or join this conversation or kind of hash this out. And this conversation is coming from two different perspectives, two different origin points. So as some of you know, I have an extensive automotive background. Pardon me. I have an extensive automotive background. So I specialized in fixed operations, which is after sales. So cars, right? They have a sales department, and then everything that's not sales is after sales. Computers, right? Think about like the Geek Squad. The Geek Squad would be after sales. And then, of course, the Best Buy store would be sales. And so when you talk about consumer products, it's normal to have a sales and after sales kind of environment. And I'm really good in the fixed operations areas, power sports, automotive, marine. I'm working with the Marine Retailers Association now. That's official. I can say that out loud on a live. And there are differences. Some people will say, well, sales is sales. Doesn't matter if you're selling the unit or selling the service. Sales is sales. Sales is not just sales. People have specialties. People have things that they're very good at. Somebody might be a great salesperson, selling Chevy Camaros off the front lot, but they might have difficulty in selling extended service contracts through the F&I department. Okay, so everyone's got a specialty or a preferred method of operation. So, hey, I see someone's in here. So if you've just joined, feel free to go ahead and hit the comments, jump in if you want. Especially as we start to break out what this session's actually about, which is about how to become a problem solver. I'm going to share with you an anecdote from just today. And this is from not just the automotive side. This is from the agency side, the Mañana No Mas agency side. So as an agency, we are contracted to help another company in launching pretty involved WordPress website. It's got a lot of customizations and automation, and it's a pretty cool project. It's got, international members all over, something like 87 countries or something like that actually use the old website. And our job was to build a new website and then migrate those users to the new website. Now, when you're working on something, and maybe this will help resonate. Pardon me. It's allergies. Something's up in the air today. You know how, whether it's automotive, motorcycle, marine, computers, websites, the client has an expectation. You as the provider have provided some kind of an expectation, something you're selling, some kind of service. And so that expectation sits, yes? And then you're fulfilling whatever that is, product, service, goods, and you want to hit that expectation. And right in the middle of doing everything, you find out something's missing. Something's gone. In this particular case today, the client, when they gave us access to their URLs, they had a list of URLs, and somewhere in the details, it wasn't noticed that the URL they actually wanted to publish to wasn't in that list of URLs. That particular URL, that one and only URL, the one and only that's needed for this project, is actually managed by a third party somewhere else. So you're working with the customer. You've got this expectation that's sitting here, and something's missing. And now what do you do? What do you do? The question I put, typed in, for the description of this video is like, something's missing. The customer's going to be ticked. They might explode. What are you going to do? And I go through this a lot. When I worked in automotive and power sports, I would train people on this all the time. Now, if you're a service writer or a service manager, you know what this is like, right? You're going to do a big engine job for somebody. You promise to get the vehicle done before the end of the week. You promise they'd have it for the weekend. And then your technician comes up to you at 3:00 in the afternoon and says, these are the wrong O-rings, or these are the wrong bolts. I need stretch field bolts, and these aren't going to work. I need the right ones. And instantly you're just like, and then you're like, what do I do? Like, do I ignore it and wait for the customer to show up at 5:00 and then we're not ready? Or, what do you do? What do you do? Well, I'll tell you what I do. And maybe this is part of the Action Leadership from the Edge project, the book I put out last year. But, and again, if you're watching this live or you are even watching the replay, put your comments in. I'll see the comments, and then we can at least have some banter back and forth. And if you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'm okay with you thinking I'm wrong. I just want to know why. Here's what I do. I immediately contact the customer. So today I call them up and I go, hey, look, the migration's going well, the data's going well, we've done some testing, everything looks like it's falling in the correct places. So this is all great news. However, the list of URLs you gave me, I'm not seeing the one that you want to use. And when we make this website live, I need access to that URL if we're going to do this, And then he said, well, what about this URL? Well, this is interesting. Okay. So instantly now we got options. What about this URL? And they point out a shortened URL in their list that's almost the same as the one they wanted to use. And then I say, okay, well, that could work. Where does this get used? And that's where they go, oh, well, we just have that as a redirect, and it, so people go to the other site, this, that, and the other thing. I go, okay, well, if we leave the redirect on, it's going to go to an older broken website. We want them to go to the new website. And so, it's not going to be used as a redirect. We'll have to cancel that redirect and then go live on this site until we get, access to your original URL. That URL's actually managed by a third-party company now. We have to get management of that URL back. Okay. So here we are. It's Friday. The expectation was to have the website published on their desired URL, quite honestly, by yesterday. Okay. They made some changes along the way. They wanted some extra details along the way. The data from the old website was a little corrupted. But through all of these things, I have been in direct communication with our technical providers on part of the contract and with the customer, right? To let them know, hit by hit how things were going. Not all the details to drive them crazy, but just hey, just checking in with you. Everything's looking good on our end. How are you guys? Hey, this is happening. How are you guys? Are you guys still secure with what we're doing? Because this is what we got happening. This is what we're doing. Hey, when we were migrating the data, we noticed some of the data came up in this column. What do you use this column for? Okay, how would you like me to exchange that information in the new website? Do you want these accounts to be active, or do you want these accounts to be inactive, kind of on standby? And so we had those communications going back and forth. So through that open communication, it builds a sense of team, a sense of belonging, and skin in the game for all the parties involved. So now everybody's working on the same goal, rather than people standing to the sides judging what's happening. You picking up what I'm laying down? Great. So when I called them with this issue, I expected, we're missing an expectation. We're here. The expectation's here. Man, they're going to pitch a fit. And you know what their reaction was? They said, man, this actually turns out to be a blessing. One of our administrators is leaving for the weekend. Another one doesn't have childcare for the weekend. Even if you make this thing live today, we don't have anyone that can go through and tweak the minor changes and go through it and troubleshoot it and make sure that all of that data that we had you put in is doing the right thing. So we would actually prefer if the long URL could go live at a later date, and we launch the shortened URL almost as a test site just to put a couple of people in there and sample the site out before we make it open to the whole network, because they're going from an old antiquated website to like something that's actually pretty new, modern, and slick. And so they want to kind of sample that with some of their core people and then like reveal it for everybody, right? And so even though it adds a little more work on my end, this URL and then this URL and then this and then that, even though it adds a little more steps along the way, we've taken what could have been a disaster and we turned it into a situation where the client's going, this is actually a hidden blessing. It's really good that it worked out this way, and I'm glad you were able to communicate it. Let's just keep moving with this, and this, and we're fine. So here we were, under the gun, forced to make magic happen on a Friday, or Monday's looking good too. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how to be a problem solver. A lot of times when I'm working with clients at the agency level, they'll say, oh, I want a website. Yes, okay. And my website must do this. It must do that. It must do the other. People must be able to sign in at this website and automatically be signed in on this website. This has to do this. I literally just had a client he said, we do everything in this website and we want to build a separate learning site, but we want people that work on this website to be able to log in on this website through this website. And they're talking about all these, and they said, so is that a voucher? So do we have to generate a voucher on this website or a coupon on this website so they can log in on this website? We don't want them to be able to access certain content on this website, so that's why we're going to put them on this website. And they were getting everything really confused. And I said, hold on, let's get to the root cause. Let's get to the root cause of what we're trying to solve. What's the root problem that you're trying to solve? Like, why do you want to have two websites? Why do you want to manage, maintain, and host two websites? And they said, well, we can't put the courses in this website because if we put these courses in this website, people will see it. Hold on. So this is all about visibility and access then, right? And they go, yeah. I go, well, let me explain to you how the access plans work inside the learning management system and show you that we could very easily add the learning management system to the back end of your existing website. And not only that, the membership tools that are in the learning management system can also be extended to hide or expose different content in your original website based on that user's access plan or user role. So if you want to do that, I can show you how to set that up. And that way you're only managing one website, one set of plugins, and everything's much more streamlined. Okay. How to be a problem solver is sometimes asking that question. What's the core pain point? What are we really trying to solve here? I'll give you one more example. I'll give you one more before, because I don't see anyone making comments yet. And if you're making comments in the platform you're in and it's not coming through, I apologize. But this is going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So I was hoping that you would see that, but I'm not. Okay, so we're good. So I'm going to give you one. Should I do it? One more example. Sure, why not? Okay. So somebody thinks that something has to happen. And we can make this one simple. Let's say that somebody is really struggling with their diet and they're talking to you about, forcing these grapefruits down, and they hate grapefruits, but they're eating a ton of grapefruit and they hate them, but they're told they have to eat these grapefruit. And when they work in the office with you with all these cubicles, they just keep complaining about having to eat all these grapefruits. So what's the question there? The question is, why the hell are you eating all those grapefruits if you hate them? Pardon me. You see, people get locked into a mindset. They put blinders on they get into a position, into a situation, and they get overwhelmed. They have a sense of defeat. They have a sense of not being able to control what's going on for some reason, somehow. So I've seen this before with people that are fitness oriented, that are focused on a lack of fitness, right? So someone tells them they have to change their diet and do something, and they hate it, but they do it anyway. And you see them going, but I have to eat these grapefruits. Okay, why do you have to eat the grapefruit? You hate the grapefruit, so why are you eating the grapefruit? Well, I'm trying to lose weight. Okay, how is eating the grapefruit going to help you lose weight? And then they start to talk to you, and then you go, okay, well, are there supplements with those types of vitamins in them? Is there something else you could eat that's in the same food family that might give you similar results to the grapefruit? What if you bicycled an extra 30 minutes a day instead of eating that grapefruit? Would that give you similar results plus give you a cardio workout? There's all these things that you can begin to ask folks. We want to approach people from what's the root cause? What's the root pain that you're trying to solve or cure? And in some cases say, well, where did that information come from? Where did the impetus, the desire, the decision to behave in this way, where did that come from? So I'm not saying that you're always right and someone else is always wrong. It's not that. But you know what? There's a lot of possibilities out there. I mean, we've all seen the guy that, looks super fit, looks like a Greek god, and he's all over social media telling people that cardio doesn't work, right? Cardio doesn't work, right? Well, cardio works great for some folks, doesn't it? Right? Because if that's what they enjoy doing and that's where their passion point is and they're fit through doing it, I would say cardio works for them, right? A lot of folks will say it's diet, I'm big on bicycling. I like to say I like to, stay fit through bicycling. But it's where does that mentality come from? Where does that modality come from? And then what's the original pain point that you're trying to fix? And the more that you ask those questions, the more you become the problem solver. How do you become the problem solver? When I was working as an executive in the motorcycle industry, a lot of times it was, we're going to put out this newsletter with this messaging. We're going to put out a recall with this messaging. We're going to put out a course that's going to tell technicians to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to put out a program where every time somebody buys one of these units, the dealer's going to have to fill out this form. The customer's going to have to fill out that form. We're going to send this to the customer. We're going to send this to the dealer. We're going to, and things would get complicated and they would get out of control quickly and the costs would escalate like through the roof. And sometimes you just need to be that voice in the room that sits back and says, what was the original thought? Like, what problem are we trying to solve? What is the original goal? What is the root cause analysis for us behaving this way at this time? And often what you'll find is when people make a decision through consensus, when there's a group of people, what happens is a lot of people have a different way to get to the same location, right? Like just sometimes you sign into Google Maps and you say, how do I get from Corona, California to Riverside, California? Sometimes it says to hop on Highway 91. Sometimes it says to take Magnolia. It just depends on what the traffic is at that time. Now imagine you've got 10 different people, no Google Maps, and you say, how do I get from here to Riverside? You're going to get 10 different answers, right? About what side street to take or how to go or what stop sign to swerve around or whatever. When you make decisions as a consensus, as a committee, what happens is you take the original problem, the original concern, you try to give everybody their piece of input, and through little segments of input getting added, everyone wants to have their say. Sometimes what can happen is you build this like monolith of complexity around this single problem because you have all of these viewpoints and you're trying to make everybody happy, and all of this starts to form like, well, this goes to this and this goes to this and this intertwines with that, and okay, I think this will work. And everyone's saying, okay, do you think this is going to work? And then you're looking at the budget and you're going, wow, how did this happen? stop, figure out what's the root cause, what's the root pain we're trying to solve. Okay, what's the quickest way to get to that solution, and then what extra branches do we really require, if it's business, for legal purposes, to avoid a lawsuit, to whatever. Make sure that you build those safety nets around that root solution. But the sooner you can get to what's the root cause or the root pain that I'm trying to solve, the sooner you can get to a root solution. This is the easiest solution. Now, is there any foreseeable reason why we need to add to this, beyond a necessity? And from there, you'll find that you're a really good problem solver. Hope that helps. Have a great Friday. Leave some comments if you would. I'll answer them later. Watch the replay. Let's do this. Boom! I like this guy.